Hello everyone, and welcome to Booked Up, a TV show featuring the adult collection and programs at the Peters Township Library. I'm Diane, the circulation manager.
And I'm Mary, head cataloger. Diane, did you notice I'm wearing the official Booked Up TV t-shirt that you made for me? Thanks
I did
again.
notice, it looks great.
I thought you'd show up today in a costume since we're going to be talking so much about Halloween.
Well, I considered it, but I haven't quite decided what I'm wearing for Halloween yet. Mary, can you believe that this year is the 50th anniversary of the release of The Exorcist? That was well before either of us was born.
Speak for yourself. I remember when that movie came out, and they had commercials for it on TV, and they were so scary that anytime they came on, I ran screaming from the room.
Well, The Exorcist was the first horror film ever nominated for an Academy Award, and it was the highest grossing horror film until the release of it in 2017.
The vomiting scenes in The Exorcist were highly grossing out, as I remember.
I agree. Well, at the library, we have a great mix of classic horror films and new releases. Here are some of the older horror movies that are as scary today as they were decades ago. We have Psycho, 1960. There was a whole generation of women who did not close the shower curtain after that film came out.
That's for sure. And next, The Birds, 1963. Didn't Sydney do a terrific job on these horror movie slides?
She really did.
And then Night of the Living Dead. This was filmed in Pittsburgh.
Rosemary's Baby, also 1968. Silence of the Lambs. This is another one that was filmed in the Pittsburgh area.
Who knew Pittsburgh was so spooky? We're lucky also to have even earlier films than these that are so influential that they are taught about in film school. The first is Nosferatu, 1922. This was actually done in the silent film era. And then we have Dracula, 1931. This stars Bela Lugosi. So this was 2 years after talking pictures began in 1929, and this still holds up. And then following that, we have Frankenstein, also in 1931, starring Boris Karloff. Lugosi and Karloff are like giants of, as far as actors go in horror films.
If you aren't quite sure what you might want to watch, you can pick up our Legends of Horror DVD set. It has 50 classic scary movies, and check out some of our new films as well.
Oh, the first one, Knock at the Cabin, that's based on a book, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay.
Okay, then we have Meghan.
Is she a doll?
She is a robotic doll, and quite scary actually. Yeah. Then we have Scream 6. I can't believe the franchise continues. From 1996 was the original Scream.
Oh man.
And The Blackening.
Oh, The Blackening. Isn't that supposed to be a funny horror film?
It is. It is. And coming out in the next few weeks, The Nun 2, Five Nights at Freddy's, and The Haunted Mansion. This version is rated PG-13 and is a little more for adults than the 2003 Eddie Murphy version of the movie.
Oh. Well, since we're a library, we mentioned films, but you may want to check out a scary book as well to get into the Halloween holiday spirit. So we have a group of these that we're going to show you. I just want to point out the one in the middle, Jo Nesbø. He's a Scandinavian crime, like mystery crime author, but this is actually a horror one that he's written, and those Scandi crime authors really go out well at our library.
Especially with the staff.
Yes. Oh, I want to point out Rouge by Monica Awad. She's a Canadian author, and she's known for her darkly comic horror. So I guess if you laugh, you won't scream.
Oh, I see in the middle, we have Horrors of the Night by Matthew Battistone. Matthew is actually a local author from Finleyville, and he was recently a featured author at our Read Local, Eat Local event.
Finleyville spooky as well?
It is, apparently.
I'm going to have to find a new way to drive to Toll Road 43. I'm not going through there. Oh, on this one, I wanted to point out The September House by Carissa Orlando. This story is about a woman who finally achieves her goal of having a beautiful old Victorian home, and the only problem is the walls bleed every September.
That sounds really messy. I wonder what kind of expert you call for that. A plumber, maybe?
Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. We should remind our viewers that if they're looking for a fiction book for horror in fiction, that they should look for the horror sticker. And a picture of it there. It's actually quite white rather than a little bluish like this one is. So look for this when you're browsing the fiction stacks. And we also have this on our DVDs and
yes.
Blu-ray spines as well. And then they were showing before, we have lists in our fiction section, book lists of the best of the year. And these are in various categories. And one of them is Best Fiction 2022. And you'll notice that Stephen King is not on this list.
No.
And it's not that his books don't deserve it, they do, but he would hog the list every year. So we like to feature some other authors for our readers to try. This year's book by Stephen is Holly.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of those authors really circulate well at the library.
Yeah.
I think all of those choices should keep us busy until it's finally Hallmark movie and Christmas book time.
It's Diane's favorite
It
time
is my
of
favorite.
the
I have to admit,
year.
it is.
But we really should go now and let Sydney stir her cauldron of upcoming programs.
Hello again, it's Sydney from Peters Township Public Library here to share some upcoming adult programs. But first, before we get into October and November, let's look back at some of the fun fall that we've had in August and September. Okay, in August, we wrapped up summer reading. We pulled names for our prize baskets and we gave our top readers some rewards as well. In the middle picture, you'll see Sarah of our Makerspace Technology Librarian doing some programs. And then the last picture, Linda Reese, she's a local history buff. She came to the library and shared information about the history and evolution of cemeteries and tombstones in America. So that was all August, and in September we hosted, as Diane mentioned earlier, our 4th annual Read Local, Eat Local Author Showcase, which was funded by the Peters Township Library Foundation. We had over 350 individuals come to the library to meet 22 local authors and grab food from our 3 food trucks. That first picture shows local author Jim O'Brien meeting with some members of the public. In the middle, we have the amateur astronomers of Pittsburgh, where we held our rescheduled star party from April. Their volunteers came out and did a presentation in our lobby after hours on a Saturday night. And then we went outside, and with their telescopes, we were able to view the rings of Saturn and various other stars in our galaxy. And the last picture is Stephen Mahaley. He came out and shared items from his personal collection of campaign artifacts dating from the early 1800s to present day. It was a very interesting and informative evening. So those were just some of the highlights of the 50+ programs we had for adults in August and September. A lot of our monthly recurring clubs do not require registration, but some of these special one-off programs do. And you can always register for events at ptlibrary.org/events. This takes you to our online monthly calendar where you can go forward into the future to see upcoming stuff, or even in the past to see some of the previous programs we've had. Registration for events typically opens 4 weeks before the event date. Now, did you know that Peters Township Public Library is a Gold Star library? That's right, folks. We are golden like the girls, and we have that Midas touch. But what does it mean to be a Gold Star library? The Pennsylvania Library Association has a statewide initiative called PA Forward, and that encourages libraries to elevate the quality of life in Pennsylvania by fueling knowledge essential to success. So with PA Forward, there are 5 literacies: basic, information, civic and social, health, and then financial literacy. So here are some upcoming events that focus on health and safety, financial safety that is. So in October, Lois Thomas, our local PA Medi coordinator, will be here to share information about Medicare. And then we'll have Maureen of Country Meadows Retirement Community. She'll be walking us through the differences of aging normally and then aging with dementia. That'll be in November. November will also have attorney Justin Ellis of Zachariah Brown, who will discuss the monetary, health care, and other valuable VA benefits. And then later on in November, we'll be working with the Peters Township Police Department and Detective Evan Caruso to share some information to help you avoid scams and what scams we've seen in the Peters Township area. And then we always have our monthly Sit and Fit program. Meghan Greenwood of BAM Choreography always comes to the library towards the end of every month and does a gentle movement class for some seniors or older folks. So many of you are also familiar with the library's local history room and all the work Margaret has put into it. She, with the help of other staff and volunteers, have worked extremely hard to organize donated materials and make the collection more accessible. And one way you can view those materials of the archives is online from the comfort of your home with PA photos and docs. So this is a Power Library resource from the state, and it hosts a multitude of documents and photographs that are unique to Pennsylvania libraries. Let's see how we can get there from home. So you can navigate to PA Photos and Docs from the library's website. If you go to Resources and click on All Resources A to Z, you can scroll down to the P's where you will find PA Photos and Docs. You'll have two links to choose from there. If you go directly to the Peters Township Public Library's collections, you'll be able to find items uploaded from our history room here at the library. There is a collection for the oral histories and 3 for donated newspapers. You can also find information with each of the photographs. So let's take a moment to look at some pictures. You can see there's aircraft wreckage photo from 1971. If we click on that and open it up, there it is. Let's look at another picture. For some of the pictures, if you search someone's name, you'll be able to find information. If we had it, we put it in. Here's a picture from Bower Hill School's students in 1914. This one didn't have the children's names in it, so it just says school children there. Okay, if you keep going, you can see all sorts of stuff. And then if you just go to the regular PA Photos and Docs website, you can search for any topic you want. So here, if we search for Peters Township, it'll bring up, you can see some of the newspapers they've been working on scanning and putting in, different documents that have been donated to the library. And we can also click here and see the 1968 Peters Township Fire Department Spaghetti Dinner fundraiser and see who all was there that evening. Okay, so if you're looking to revisit the past or settle an argument about who was actually there at the 1968 Spaghetti Dinner for the Fire Department, you can check out PA Photos and Docs. You can navigate to our website or get to the collections quickly by going to ptlib.org/PTPL photos. Now, I wanted to share that information because I know how much Peters Township loves their local history, and we do have 3 upcoming programs about history this fall. So in October, we will learn about the role witches have played on the silver screen and what real records and documents helped to shape their rise in pop culture. Also in November, Margaret and Carrie will be back with another Stories from the Archives and share information about PT schools in this Zoom program. And then on November 20th, Dr. Maine Waring, a retired professor from W&J, will share his research in the history of the Underground Railroad in Washington County. So if you like homework, you can always research PT schools on PA Photos and Docs before the November 16th program, or you can also check out Dr. Maine Waring's books, Abandoned Tracks, The Underground Railroad in Washington County, from the library. This is really interesting, and in the back he organizes the different areas that have been referenced to have been part of the Underground Railroad in Washington County. So there's a section here about Cannonsburg, and he rates them with stars based on how likely that they really existed. So some things are just mentioned in passing. So-and-so, they said in their family's history that this place was part of the Underground Railroad, but there's been no historical evidence to support that versus other places that have been a lot more documented. Aside from history, the library is also a great place to get creative. So you can join our monthly crafternoons or crochet and knitting group. And then our makerspace with Sarah Quinn also has small classes where you can learn to use the equipment and make one-of-a-kind projects. And I brought a few examples of those with me that I'd like to show you really quick. So we'll have some needle felted pumpkins coming up. So these are two, they have like foam balls in the middle and it's wool, and you basically take a little stabby thing and you stab them until you get them in the position you want, and it's got twine wrapped around there. And then this is another creation that she made with our Cricut machine. So it's got different layers of paper and then like little foam squares to separate them. And then with 3D pins, she made this little coffin that actually opens up. We have a little bone in there too. So those are just a few of the projects we have upcoming. Now there's one more big event that's coming up this fall that I'd love to highlight, but I need some help to talk about it. So let's take a quick laugh break while I recruit some assistants.
Why was the skeleton waiting outside the library? It was dying to get in.
Why did the ghosts keep coming back to the library? They went through their books too quickly.
Why did Dracula go to the library? He wanted to sink his teeth into a good book.
Okay. What's a pumpkin's favorite genre? Pulp fiction, seedy romance.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. Where does the library keep books about Bigfoot? The large print section.
I bet you didn't know the library had such great jokes. Well, now I have Meghan Greenwood of the Peters Township Library Foundation with me to tell us a little bit about Novel November. So what is Novel November?
So Novel November is an opportunity to bring a New York Times bestselling author right into our backyard, and we are approaching our 6th annual event this year. And historically, we've brought in over 400 people in and around Peters Township Library together to learn from authors across a wide variety of book genres. And the Novel November is primarily sponsored and organized by the Peters Township Library Foundation, but it would not be possible without all of our community advertisers and community sponsors, our ticket buyers, and our volunteers. So we are very grateful to have all of them helping.
So who is the Novel November author this year? Who's coming?
So her name is V.E. Schwab, and she's also gone by Victoria Schwab, and she's coming all the way from Edinburgh, Scotland. And she's the author of over 20 books that have a far-reaching audience of adults, young adult books, and tweens. And she often portrays amazing characters that grapple between good and evil, and she transports you into these new fantasy worlds that are highly creative. And The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is actually an international bestseller and made her a household name. And she also has a bunch of other book series like Villains, Monsters of Verity, Shades of Magic, and some graphic novels.
Yes, those are my favorite if I had to pick one. I haven't read this one yet, but it is based on the Vicious world. And then if you've read their Darker Shades of Magic, she has Knights of Magic, I think is what it's called, like a graphic novel series. Love it. So I think you covered it, but this isn't just for adults, is it?
No, definitely not. So we also have a student ticket option available, and we highly recommend that our students attend since we have so many budding creatives in the area. They can come and learn from an author about like the hardships of writing a novel, and a lot of our authors have been very candid before about their trials and tribulations of sitting down and creating new works. So I think it's a great learning opportunity for the students, so I highly encourage them to come.
And I wanted to point out, if you have read Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, our book club, our evening book club is having a discussion on October 11th, so anyone's welcome to come join us for that. Is there anything else you want to share about Novel November?
Sure. So the event itself is split up into 2 portions. So we have a VIP portion and we also have a general admission portion. And the VIP ticket holders can come to both if they'd like. And the VIP portion is an intimate setting with some music, hors d'oeuvres, mingling, networking, and you get a copy of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue this year that can be signed by V.E. Schwab at the VIP event. And then the general admission happens in the auditorium here at the high school, and it is a Q&A session with V.E. Schwab as well as our host and president, Mara Kelly. They go back and forth and answer some audience questions as well. And then after that, there's a book signing for the general audience.
Mm-hmm. And I know this gets planned out way far in advance. Do we know who our 2024 author is yet?
Yes, our 2024 author is Patrick Radden Keefe. So we will be announcing that as well at the program, and there'll be more information coming out on that soon.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Megan. Thanks for sharing this. And again, this is City of Ghosts. This is one of the tween juvenile ones, and it's about a girl who almost dies, and now she can see a ghost. It's fun. And then I really enjoyed, this is the sequel to our Savage Song, which is basically Romeo and Juliet, but with monsters retelling. So thank you so much, Megan.
Yeah, and go to the library, pick up a copy of one of her books now, and read it before the event on November 1st, and grab your ticket too at the library website.
Okay, well, I think that's it. Is it?
But wait.
Witches are here.
Have I forgotten something, Diane?
Yes, we still need to talk about the after hours Halloween event at the library.
That's right. On October 14th, we are hosting an adults only after hour event at the library called Booze, Brews, and Books. So we'll have Mondays brewing, arepas and more, empanadas, and then we'll have other activities from the library, a scavenger hunt, costume contest, pumpkin decorating, and then we'll have tarot card readings from Well Oiled, a shop over in Canonsburg. So if you're interested in coming to that, it's easy to register. Just go to ptlib.org/booze, B-O-O-S, booze, not the other kind. But anyone's welcome to join us. It is 18 and up, since we will have alcohol there, but it is a free event to come. The only things that require money is if you're going to purchase anything from Mondays and anything from arepas. So we hope we'll see you then.
I think that's the first time they're ever going to have beer offered for purchase at the library.
I think it is.
Yeah, hopefully it's not the last time. I think we could all use some more adult after hours programming at the library.
It's easy to say that when our boss isn't here.
That's true. Okay, well, we'll be back in a few months with another edition of Booked Up. In the meantime, let us help you get booked up with new library programs, clubs, and books. The Peters Township Public Library is open Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 9 to 4. The library is closed on Sundays. But don't worry, we're always open online at ptlibrary.org. See you at the library.